Well guys, this was a complete fail. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on what it's like to daily drive a Nissan Skyline. Just for some context, this is my brother's car. He's had it for several months now, but the last couple weeks he's been letting me daily drive it. So let me give you a quick walk around of the car. This is a 1995 Nissan Skyline. It was a base model car, but someone did do a 5-lug conversion and put bigger brakes on it. Overall, the body is pretty straight with a little asterisk. Someone did hit the car, which is going to be a very important note that we'll hit on later. But other than that, pretty straight car. Let's go to the interior now. This has to be one of the cleanest interiors I've ever seen. I mean, there is some dirt. I mean, we daily drive it, so yeah, we do need to vacuum it, but the dash is not lifting. The seats have no wear marks or anything like that. It's pretty dang crazy. It even has the stock head unit. I believe one of the only aftermarket things in here is the steering wheel, but I was told that came from a later model Skyline. Probably one of the coolest things about this is how big the trunk is. So it's a pretty good sized trunk, so you know, you can fit plenty of stuff, go grocery shopping, do a weekend trip in the car. Now we're gonna go to the heart of the car, which is the engine. This did initially start with a RB20, but someone swapped in an RB25. Of course it's NA, which kind of sucks, but for a daily driver, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I do acknowledge the fact that I'm not a Nissan Skyline expert, but one of the things that I really love about this is that everything looks stock. Before we go take this thing for a drive, I really want to touch on looks. I know this is not always the case, but I think for a vast majority of the people, when you buy a car like this, it's because you want something unique that stands out and gets attention. I think if you're getting a R32 or an R34 or even like an R33 GTR, you will stand out and people are gonna be like, yo, what's that? It's going to be a car that people are really interested in, like the Honda Acti that I have. But this R33 does not really get people's attention. It actually blends in really well, and 95% of people have no idea what it is. They're just confused as to why it's right-hand drive because they think it's your everyday, you know, like sedan. So if your main goal is to have something that really stands out, this probably isn't the car for you unless you're gonna like extensively modify it. With that being said, I actually do like the looks. I like how it's understated, it's sleek, it's something that I would drive. Even though the car doesn't really grab people's attention, when you drive it, it's still really cool because you're like cocooned in this thing, and it's like a time capsule. Just to think that back in the mid-90s, some person was driving this around Japan. It's just a really cool thing. It's a really nostalgic thing. For those who have never driven right-hand drive, it's really not that bad. You get used to it really quick. Clutch is nice and easy. I'm a big fan of that. Some clutches can be a lot harder to modulate, and they're more like an on-off switch instead of having this gradual progression where they grab. Steering feels good. This is not so much a Skyline thing. I think it's just an old car thing. It could probably use new tie rods and stuff like that just to kind of take some of the slack out of it. I know a common thing people don't like on Skylines is the HICA system, which is the rear steer. I don't feel any funny handling characteristics. That could be just because, you know, just cruising around town, not doing anything crazy with it. There is the other side that it potentially may not work because this is not the original steering wheel to the car. In terms of comfort, it's good for being a 90s car, so like I would never expect this to feel like a modern vehicle, but it soaks up the bumps pretty well. Wind noise is actually pretty minimal. I do hear it though when it's kicking up the rocks and stuff like that. I really love these seats. So they do have a little bit of side bolstering, but it's nothing crazy. I could see myself taking a long trip with these and being perfectly fine. I do want to note that I wouldn't expect any type of crazy performance because this car is on stock suspension, so there's going to be a lot of body roll and it's not going to be optimal, but it's still plenty to have fun in while maintaining comfort, which is a really important thing. So I'm coming out of a right-hand corner. I'm towards the bottom of second gear and I'm going to gun it. You know, it doesn't really have that much power, but it's totally okay. It's sufficient enough to keep up with traffic. I can cruise on the highway, which is super cool. In comparison to my Acti, that thing is terrifying on the highway. It's a death trap. This thing though, totally comfortable. You know, a lot of people think Skylines are these 1,000 horsepower monsters, and I kind of feel like the internet has made that impression on people because that's what, you know, those are the crazy builds you see. Most Skylines aren't like that. Now I acknowledge this one's not most Skylines either because most people, you know, have a turbo RB25 or RB26. So this is going to be on the slower end, but the power is still plenty sufficient. So if you're just looking to putt around town, this will do. Well guys, this was a complete fail. I noticed some steam coming out of the hood, pulled over, and boom. That really sucks. Fuck. That really sucks. Oh, I hope I did not blow up that engine. So I saw steam coming out of the hood, and then the fact that the coolant temperature was pegged. So yeah, that sucks. So I guess we'll take this back home and go from there. All that stuff I said about reliability out the window. Well, the smoke is cleared, so let's see what the damage is. I hope it's nothing crazy. What? Where is it coming from? So I will be honest with you guys, I'm a little confused because I just assumed that there would be a coolant leak somewhere. That is fine. Down there, there's not fluid. I hear it whistling. Where the heck would it be coming from? So I'm positive that it's coming from this side because there was no smoke coming from over there initially. It all came from over here. And this side's all wet. That side's still dry. I just don't know where it's coming from exactly. At least I got some little friends over there to keep me company. Well guys, I am still waiting on a tow truck, but as I've been waiting, I've been processing everything, and I think it's potentially a head gasket leak. And what makes me just kind of think that is that once I opened up the hood, I actually saw a bunch of bubbles coming out of here, which is the coolant overflow tank. And it makes me think potentially if the head gasket is leaking, some of the pressure is leaking out of the combustion chamber, which would actually make sense because I've always thought the car sounded a little funny, but again, I don't know RBs, so I just assumed maybe that was the sound because it wasn't like a knocking, but it was just something felt off. Well guys, we are back home, got the car towed. Jesus is on his way over. I do have to say he had the most relaxed response ever. The first time I called him, I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure your engine's blown. His response was, cool, I'll be there in like an hour. After some time passed, I called him several times and I'm like, why isn't he answering his phone? That's really weird. Turns out he went back to sleep. Told him his engine was blown up on the car that he spent $16,000 on. And he goes back to bed. Oh, he has to be one of the most relaxed people I know. Sorry, I might have blown up your car.
You know, I was thinking about it on the way here, and as much as it does suck, life, I guess, is the best way to put it. I was thinking, dude, I spent like a year and a half saving up for this thing. It's, you know, it's not just
a car.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like a dream car, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because that was $16,000.
It's a very bittersweet moment where it's like, ah, yes, we talked about selling it yesterday, and also it's, well, yeah. I didn't want the car just to die like that, you know?
No, so here's the good news. We won't know until we get in there, but if it's just a head gasket that's blown, reasonably speaking, we can replace it. The head might be warped or something, but most of the time the machine shops can just mill that out. It's something that potentially we can fix.
The question is,
do you want to?
Yeah, it's something we could fix. It comes down to a couple things. I think as a rolling shell, I could get $3,000 to $5,000.
Well, you got options. I mean, doing the head gasket wouldn't be that bad. I don't know what the gasket kits cost for this, but let's just say they're a couple $100, and then plus the machine work that would go into the head.
I mean, yeah, that's true. At the same time, it's like, well, since I was already considering selling it, maybe just offload it.
Obviously, I think what would confirm our suspicions is a leak down test. We don't have any source of compressed air here, so our next bet is a compression test. Quick update, guys. We have the compression tester, but I have to fix my girlfriend's car, so I took all the tools necessary. So those are actually at my house, mixed with, Jesus was saying it right, he's kind of bummed and he just wants some time to process. So
yeah, because like I was saying, it's a very bittersweet moment where it's like, yeah, I had thoughts about selling the car, but also it's, did I really want it to go out like that?
No,
not really, but it happens. It's life. It's not Daniel's fault. It's not my fault. It happens. It's a 25-plus-year-old car.
Yeah, this review didn't end well. Scrap what I said about reliability. Earlier in the video, I said this car is super reliable and just does its job. Let us know what you think we should do. I'm in the boat of fixing it, but it's your car ultimately. Come back, think about it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.